The streets are talking. You are now listening to The Box Out, tri-state area basketball talk at its best. And now your hosts, Kahlil Thomas and Jason Cordner. Let's get it.
From NJ to BK in the world, this is The Box Out here on the Just Hoop Talk YouTube channel. My name is Khalil Thomas. Joining me in just a few minutes will be Jason Cordner. Before we get started, please check out on Just Hoop Talk here the mock draft that Will and Justin dropped yesterday. They go through all the first round picks. Check it out. It's really good, really thorough. So check that out for Will and Justin here on Just Hoop Talk. It was really good, very insightful. And I'm doing a couple more, so check that out. On tonight's show, we're going to start our opening tip with the NBA Finals that I thought was done is not done. It is still going on. It is still happening. Last night, 109-103, Milwaukee wins Game 4, ties the series up at 2 games apiece. And we got ourselves a series as I bring in Jason Cordner. Jay, what's popping, bro?
Not much. How's everything?
Things are good. So if you're wondering why there was no show last week, Jay and I passed out. We both were. And I hit him up, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I passed out when I got home. And he's like, I did the same thing. So we both fell asleep and couldn't do the show last week.
It's all good. It's a quiet Thursday night tonight. No NBA action, so we got a lot to digest.
We got a lot to like. Last night's game, I want to get into that. And I started the show saying that I thought it was a foregone conclusion that Phoenix would win this series 4 or 5. Milwaukee went back home, and it seems as if they got the second wind. You know, Giannis put up numbers in the first 2 games, and it seemed like everybody else finally figured out, hey, we kind of got to help him out now. And Chris Middleton, 40 points last night, did just that.
Yeah, and just like I texted you last night, it seems like the coach made a little bit of adjustments. And instead of, finally telling Giannis to, slow it down in the paint, let's get everybody else started to cook a little bit. But even with that, and you know how much I hate the Bucks, even with that, the Suns still had a chance to be going home 3-2, up 3-1, actually. And I think I still kind of feel good if I'm the Suns. I feel like you weathered their best storm, and that's in Milwaukee. You serve home court, you're the world champs. And I don't think Chris Paul's going to have another bad game. I don't think Middleton's going to give you another 40 points. So now where that lies for the Bucks going back to Phoenix, who's going to step up? Is it going to be Giannis having to carry the load again? Is someone else going to have a semi 40-point performance? It doesn't have to be Milton. It could be Brook Lopez. I mean, anybody. So I don't know if we're going to get that in Phoenix. So I think the Suns are still in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and I think the big thing with the Suns, I really think, last night, look at last night's rotation, Monty Williams went 8 deep.
Yeah.
So, and he's been kind of shrinking that bench slowly. And I think last night you kind of saw the remnants, not last night, Game 3 especially, you saw it. Chris Paul looks worn out. Devin Booker had a big game last night. He looks worn out. DeAndre Ayton without Dario Saric has to play pretty much the whole game. He played 38 minutes last night. I think we're getting to that point where the stars of Phoenix, they're starting to get worn down, and this is what you're seeing now. You're seeing a tired Chris Paul. You're seeing a tired Devin Booker, a tired DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah. I mean, if Chris Paul wants that max money this summer, you can't have too many more finals appearances looking like how the last 2 games look.
Yeah, and it's listen, I don't want to put all of it on Phoenix's fatigue, but listen, 40 for Middleton, Giannis had 26 and 14. Brook Lopez gave 14, Drew Holiday 13, even though he shot 4 for 20, so he's still not shooting that great to begin with. And even Milwaukee, their bench is down at 8. So kind of like in that Brooklyn series when you saw Budenholzer kind of start to shrink the bench.
Yeah.
You're seeing it now, but the difference is you're seeing a lot more Bobby Portis, which I think is a major cog in the wheel because it throws another body at DeAndre Ayton besides Brook Lopez.
Yeah, but that seems to be a problem for Ayton. And Portis has been putting up some great minutes and playing really well for the Bucks. So it's like, do you find more minutes for him in Game 5? Do you kind of like, if Brook Lopez looks a little shaky, do you pull him early?
I think you do. I feel like Bobby Portis' game is one where I feel like, and this is where I miss him being a Knick, because he is kind of versatile.
Mm-hmm.
He can bang inside. He can step out and hit a three. But the bigger worth of him is defensively, on the boards, and he's a dog. I feel like you need a dog on your roster to win a championship, and Bobby Portis for this team is that guy. The Suns have, they have Jay Crowder, but I feel like Bobby Portis is that dude that if you need some energy and Brook Lopez isn't doing it, you say, okay, Bobby, get in there, and Bobby's going to bring the spirits up of that team, and I think that's kind of what he's been doing in the last 2 games.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. We have to talk about – tell me if I'm wrong, because I've been watching it over and over again all day. The Giannis block on Ayton on the alley-oop attempt. I think that is the best block I've seen in the NBA Finals. Better than LeBron's block at Iguodala. LeBron's block was here. I'm like, you know what? Giannis is like close. What are your thoughts on that block in its place in NBA lore now?
See, I'm kind of torn because I think it was the best block. It's just that LeBron was more meaningful because that was like Game 7. So if I want to go like block for block, definitely Giannis. That was all, but both of those were also series changing blocks. You know what I mean? Because I feel like if that block didn't happen last night, Phoenix might be up 3-1. It really turned the tides of how it juveniled the Bucks afterwards. So I'm gonna say style points. I'm gonna give it to Giannis. But LeBron, I mean, that was Game 7. It was down to the wire. I mean,
yeah, I get that, but we called him the Greek Freak for a reason.
True.
That was a freak move. That was one of those moves, right? You don't see that. You don't see a guy literally go up there and just block an alley-oop attempt. That was like, what? Did that just happen?
And we forgot he has a hyperextended knee.
Hyperextended knee. So it's tied 2-2. Going back to Phoenix. Still in Milwaukee, right? Go back to Phoenix.
Go back to Phoenix.
Yeah, they don't do the 2-3-2 anymore, right? They do 2-2, 1-1-1-1.
This is kind of why we got the 3-day break. We got.
Mm-hmm. So where do you see the series going now? Because I feel like now we're at a point where it's kind of a toss-up. It's a best of 3 now. So where do you see the series going from now with the series tied, Milwaukee having all the momentum now?
I think the Suns are going to muster up a winning Game 5. The Bucks will probably win Game 6. I think this is going 7. This whole series, I'm probably dating myself here, but this series reminds me so much of is it 91? It has to be 91. 91, 92, Twins, Braves. The Braves,
the
Braves are on the Cups.
I think 91.
So no one knew what you was going to get from either team, and the Braves are supposed to be this whole dominated for a whole decade later. But it kind of feels like that. It feels like we're both getting 2 teams, 2 new contenders, and I think it's destined to go 7. And I'm kind of leaning towards the Bucks in 7.
Well, here's the question though, because we know, and we talked about it when the series was, when he figured out who's going to be in it. Phoenix, not a major market.
Nope.
Milwaukee, not a major market. How badly does the NBA want this to go 7? Because I feel like it's not the finals they will want, because it's not a really sexy matchup. But a 7-game finals out of COVID, first finals since COVID. How badly does the NBA want this to go 7?
Oh, they want this to go extremely bad. I mean, just to me, what makes the series also great too is the fans in Milwaukee. The Deer District. To me, it's a little bit more enticed than what was going on in Toronto. And just knowing that for ratings wise, the way each game has been played differently, I'm rooting for a Game 7. Give us Game 7 and give us the draft immediately afterwards, and then we'll loop in the Olympics as well. So I think it's a good stretch of basketball coming up. Well, maybe not for Team USA, but a good stretch of basketball.
We're getting to that later. I think they're in trouble. So Game 5 is, and I had it on the screen. Game 5 is on Saturday in Phoenix. That's ABC, obviously 9 p.m. Hopefully, I do want a Game 7 too. I really want a Game 7. I think this season, the way the season's gone, it needs to go 7. Has like that ultimate end.
It does, but Phoenix, they seem a little, blistered. I think Paul looks a little gassed. Maybe these 3-day breaks are something. Maybe that can help him out a little bit, but they got to get Game 5. I think if they drop Game 5, it's over in 6.
So the other big news, and we have to talk about this because we are Knick fans. There's been a lot of chatter, and it's also on the Atlantic, which I trust. No, sorry, the Athletic. The Atlantic.
I have to get a subscription for the Athletic.
You do. It's expensive. It's like $60 for a year. I think I still have my T-Mobile free account. That's what I'm still rocking with right now. But it's a good for basketball, especially, and for Knick basketball, especially. It's a really valuable source, and that's where I saw this original story about the Knicks possibly going after Collin Sexton from the Cavs. Now we know they need a point guard. The Knicks need a point guard. Mm-hmm. This was not the guy I thought of. Thought that. What are your thoughts about this? I guess reported flirting that Cleveland and New York are doing.
I mean, like you said, we need a point guard. I was kind of, sold on Ball. However, Saxton is appealing for the right price. Like, if we had to give up Knox, one of the draft picks, maybe like the 19th pick, and I don't know who else. I wouldn't want to give up. You're not giving up RJ. You're not giving up Obi. You're not giving up any of those young assets. So, if you can move Knox and one of the draft picks, I might be enticed to go after Sax.
Well, I think the problem becomes, and you just said it, I think I said this to a buddy of mine yesterday, the price becomes the scary part.
Mm-hmm.
We have a history, has the New York Knicks, of, I'm just going to say it, fucking trades up.
Yeah.
And offering too much for what we're getting. In my head, the perfect trade would be the 19th pick, the 32nd pick, Kev,
mm-hmm.
and I would throw in Ntilikina if you made 32 a pick swap and do it that way.
So you're not giving up both the 19 and 21.
I feel like at 21, you can definitely. I feel like at 21, and we'll talk more about this, I guess, leading up to the draft probably next week. I feel like 21 is prime for a player like James Boatnight from UConn, which is a flexible 2-3 guy who can kind of play multiple positions, who's ready to play. He's not a rookie that Tibbs will have to sit there and grit and bear it through. I feel like Cleveland's going to ask for a lot. The key is going to be Leon and Worldwide West and Scott Perry saying no. If they're able to say no and put Cleveland in a box, and now it's out there that Cleveland's trying to get rid of either Sexton or Darius Garland, the trade value is going to drop a little bit. So it's going to be on the Knicks to say, no, we're not giving you X, Y, Z, and then A, B, C at the same time. I think that's the scary part to me.
But I think the new regime will make sure they won't oversell themselves. Because like you said, it's out there now that you want to get rid of one of them. And you still have a high draft pick of your own. So, what direction are the Cavs trying to go in?
So my idea, and I'm looking at the roster now, and if you look at Cleveland, is there a possibility that Cleveland could say to the Knicks or anyone else, okay, we'll give you Sexton, but you have to take Kevin Love too? And if that's the case, do you make that move still?
No. I don't think so. I wouldn't make it because, one, you don't need Kevin Love. Two, his salary is still ridiculously high, and that's going to eat up your cap space. So the Knicks actually have options here. They have cap room, and they have those draft picks. I think the direction Cleveland really should go into is that of the Thunder. You still have your draft pick. You could probably flip Kevin Love for an asset from some desperate team. And, And if you want to move Sexton, you can still do that. But I think the Cavs should definitely follow the Thunder playbook. I think the Knicks, if that's what they're asking for, they should hold pat and see what other offers are out there. We hear in Sacramento's rumbling about, they don't want Hill and they're looking to move some guys, maybe for Simmons, but maybe the Knicks might have a better package for them.
So Kevin Love's salary, 31 next year and 28.9 the following year. For a player who is essentially, I'm looking at his name right above Taurean Prince. He's like Taurean Prince right now. That's what Kevin Love is. But a $31 million Taurean Prince. That's kind of the problem right now. So I'm looking at Sexton 6'3", 6.3 next year, and then he's eligible for a re-up this summer. So I feel like they're trying to figure it out. Could be a sign and trade, could be whatever.
Sounds like a sign and trade.
I'm still not so. I prefer Darius Garland. The truth be told, if Garland was available, I would make the move for Garland, not Sexton. But I'm still not sold on it because of what we talked about last season. How there's reports around the league where other players are telling Cleveland players, I don't know why you're even trying because you know you're not getting that ball. Sexton could be a ball hog. Now, in this offense, and the ball moves pretty fast. Randall held onto it a little bit longer against Atlanta in the playoffs. The ball moves around a lot, moves around fast, and it's just constant. Do you need a player that's going to stop the offense? And I feel like Sexton could be that guy, even though he averaged 7 assists a game when Garland was out. Is this a move they should make? Is this something they need, or should they kind of stay in okay, free agency, and we're going to keep those picks and figure something else out?
I still think they should keep the picks, figure it out, and let's see what the free agent market is. I personally, I've been chatting Lonzo since day one. That's who I want. However, I think Saxton would fall in line with Tibbs. I think, and if you kept somehow re-sign Rose, that might work.
My problem with that is if you re-sign Rose, you get Sexton. Where does Quickly come in? Because picking up Sexton, could that kind of stunt the development that you're trying to get into IQ right now?
I don't think so. I think he'll still get his minutes. And I think at some point now, do you try to re-sign Burke at this point? Probably not. So now you might move Quickly into the shooting guard position. He might start alongside. That's not a bad backcourt, Sexton and Quickly.
Sexton, Quickly, Barrett, your 3.
Yeah.
Randall, Mitch. On paper, that sounds really good. Actually, in hindsight,
sounds good. It sounds good for 2K.
I'm still not sold on it. I'm still being. So when I work with this camp right now, who's a head coach at Park Ridge here in Jersey, he's all for it. He's like he's about it. He's like, I'm done. We got to do this move, and I'm still looking at tape. I'm still watching some stuff about him. I'm still kind of figuring it out right now. So. Just remember, we'll see what happens.
He played in Cleveland. Cleveland seems to be the root of a lot of people's problems.
Yeah, I guess. Looking at other trade rumors, there hasn't been much talk about Dame Lillard in the last couple of weeks. Do you think that's all dead now and that Lillard's going to stay in Portland? That those rumors were just that. They were just rumors.
I think it's quiet for now. I think the Ben Simmons train has left the station, and I think that's really just going to be the centerpiece talk going into the summer. I think Lillard is going to try to work it out with Chauncey, and I think at that point, if he wants to give it one more run, one more year, go for it. But at some point, leave Portland.
Well, we have to talk about the Chauncey interview because we haven't been on for 2 weeks. The Chauncey introductory press conference in Portland, and there are clouds over this hiring because Billups were accused of sexual assault in 1999, and I think Portland did him a disservice.
They did
by not letting him talk about it. I feel like them kind of shutting it down, saying we already said what we said. That's it. You can't talk to him about it. Next question. I feel like that's going to leave that cloud over there because if he can't explain what happened, if he can't explain not his side, but just say, hey, whatever happens in the past, not saying he was guilty or not, but just talking about it would have made this a little easier to kind of take. Portland did him as a service, and now he's going to Portland with all these questions about that topic and not, hey, maybe he shouldn't have gotten his job, because that's the real story here.
Now, do you think this topic comes up at Summer League? Because I think it does.
I think it has to. I feel like you nip it there in the introduction, say everything you can say, so the reporters are like, they're satisfied. I feel like you not letting them talk about it, and he just sat there like this. Like, look, okay, so I can't. Oh, okay, that's cool. I feel like Portland did him dirty, and I feel like this is going to keep coming up until he's forced to really talk about what happened.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I thought it was a good hire.
So the other rumor, moving off of that real fast. So it seems like the Sixers are talking to other teams about Ben Simmons. I think the problem is, I think they're going to ask for a lot. And I think teams realize that, and teams are starting to back away from him. If you were a GM, let's say I'm going to give you a fictional team. Let's give Sacramento. All right. What would be the price you would give up to get a Ben Simmons? Because I feel like the trade market for him, you don't really know what it really is, because you only saw what you saw in the playoffs. I feel like, and that's the last thing you saw. The last thing you watched of Ben Simmons was that series. What do you do for him? Like, what would you offer the Sixers that would keep you competitive with Ben Simmons on your team, but also give the Sixers what they want and have it be a fair trade?
First of all, if Daryl Morey ever calls my phone, it's going straight to voicemail. I gotta hear the message first, then I'm gonna call him back. I think he's trying to gut the Kings. He's probably asking for a Fox, Buddy Hield, draft picks, and God knows what else. Probably start part ownership. I think for Sacramento, I think he would probably play well along with Fox, because now you can move him into the shooting guard, and now you have a playmaker. You have a playmaker with Simmons that could probably help those guys score buckets. So I think if I'm Sacramento, I'm offering draft picks, Hield, and anybody else, maybe another starter that Philadelphia could use. And then at the same time, I'm looking at the packages that I'm hearing from other teams. I don't know if that actually helped the 76ers right now.
No, I don't think it does. I think if you trade Ben Simmons, what's the team? Are they a championship contender? Are they a middling playoff team? Are they Eastern Conference contenders? Even with him, that's a good question, actually. Thinking about it now, I don't know what they really are. How good are they?
I thought the Indiana trade was perfect for them. It would have gave you a starting point guard in Brogdon, and I forgot who else they was going to give up. Damn. I want to say it was the guy that used to play for the Suns 2 years ago.
I'm going to look it up real fast. Who was that guy? I think it was 2 players, right?
Yeah, it was 2 players and a draft pick, and I think those guys would have fit in perfectly, especially Brogdon.
Hold on, here we go. So it was Simmons, a first-round pick, and no, that's it. It was Brogdon, the first-round pick. That was a rumor.
First-round pick was number 13 this year in the draft?
Yeah. So it's still lottery.
Still lottery.
So I don't see what I like that trade, actually. I don't think that's a bad trade.
I don't think it's a bad trade either.
And you have the asset you can flip if you want to. So I think they're going to try to just gut someone out, and they're waiting for a sucker, and that sucker's probably going to be Sacramento Kings. More than likely. Poor guys. The other big story the last couple of weeks has been the U.S. men's team. We saw the U.S. women's team last night. We'll talk about them in a bit. Bradley Beal's now not going to the Olympics. And according to Brian Windhorst of ESPN, they're trying to find people who are in shape and actually in the country, because a lot of guys are on vacation. They lost to Nigeria and what was it? Australia. Beat Argentina. They're supposed to play Australia again. That game's probably not going to happen, more than likely. What's the problem with this team? Because I think and they're missing 2 players, which I forgot. I'm like, Beal and Drew Holiday and Devin Booker are on the team as well. And they're not been there yet. So this team is just poorly put together, it seems like.
Yeah, it seems like it's poorly put together. Not enough bigs. I guess Durant's the leader of the team, and we know Durant's track record. Not quite the leader. And Pops seemed frustrated. And the truth of the matter is the rest of the world got better. Nobody wants to admit that. Pretty much Nigeria had a couple of All-NBA players. Australia has a couple of NBA players. I just think the gap now is so close, and these guys play. I don't know if you saw that tweet that went out not too long ago that a lot of players out there are complaining about the officiating. So these guys are not even accustomed to playing like a little bit of street ball kind of level where not everything is going to be called a foul. So it's a lot of things. I just don't know how Team USA is going to medal in this upcoming Olympics.
So I want to read you off the roster real fast of who they have. Right, Bam Adebayo, Beal's out, Booker's coming in, got KD, Jeremy Grant, who reportedly is in COVID protocol now too.
Damn.
Draymond Green, Drew Holiday, Zach LaVine, Dame Lillard, Kevin Love, Chris Middleton, Jason Tatum. Here's the problem with this roster. There ain't a lot of defense here.
No.
Right? Adebayo, he can give you a little bit. Right?
And Draymond
definitely. Besides that, that's it. So you put this assortment of shooters and ISO players together to play a team game, because what wins the Olympics isn't ISO ball and one-on-ones. It's team. We saw that when they got the bronze in Athens, right? It takes an entire team to win the gold medal. With this team put together and whoever they replaced Bradley Beal with, it just doesn't work. They didn't put it together correctly. One, you got one big guy, really. You could count Kevin Love as another one. You got Bam Adebayo.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you got. So your inside is already wide open because Adebayo is one guy he can't get around. Do you have a real point guard on this team?
No.
You don't. Like, Drew Holiday's not a real point. Bradley Beal's not a real point. Devin Booker's not a real point. Dame's not a real point. You don't have that one point guard's going to come in, but okay, I'm going to get you the ball. I'm going to make sure you get your shot. Okay, I'm directing. Who's directing traffic here? Who's going to really direct traffic and not pull up from 30 feet and try to hit a three? I feel like they so poorly put this together, and it seemed like really just some haphazard type shit they put this team together. They didn't even try.
And then shout out to John Moran, who tweeted like, "Oh, I'm not watching." He's not watching it because he felt he got snubbed. And he's exactly what they need, a true point guard who could help others engage in the game. So I don't know. I don't know how they're going to medal in this upcoming Olympics.
But here's the problem, too. You leave John Moran home, but you invite Chris Middleton? You invite Jeremy Grant? You invite Drew Holiday? I'm like, were there specifications to make it his team, or did you just have to know somebody's mom? Or like just have a good relationship with a coach? Like, it seemed weird how and who they put on his team. It just makes no sense to me.
It seemed like Pop got his peoples. That's all.
That's what it seems like, and it's not working. Obviously, you saw it against Nigeria and Australia. It ain't working, it's not going to work, and they're going to fail miserably.
Game, that was really bad because that was an 11-1 run to end the game. So they were just, they so out of sync.
Well, even the Nigeria game, I can give them that because at the end of the day, Nigeria hit 23s. They were on that day. So I'm like, you can't really put it on the U.S. because Nigeria was on fire that night. But the Australia game was a disaster. It was a shit show, and they should know better. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to be awful. WNBA, real fast, I want to mention this too. Shout out to Candace Parker, first female ever to grace the cover NBA 2K22 special edition. I'm getting the other one, the 75th anniversary, because it comes with a free basketball from GameStop. I don't want that ball.
I want that ball.
Candace Parker inside the NBA, all over TNT, Chicago Sky, killing it finally with her in the lineup. It seems like women's basketball, and we talked about this for the 4 years we've been on, how the visibility has always been the problem. And I feel like they're trying to fix it. It's slow, but they're trying to fix it.
They're trying to fix it, and I see I see at Liberty games, the fans are there. The fans are coming. They're engaged. A lot of them seem like they was like day one fans too. So the product's gotten better. The engagement's gotten better. Shout out to Vanessa Bryant. She was at the All-Star game last night. Took the two little ones, the two youngest daughters to the game. So that to me that's saying something right there. And I think women's basketball in general, the product is so much better now. When I'm watching the game, I'm like, wow, they're shooting threes like Steph Curry. They're fundamentally sound too. That's also what's a problem with Team USA men, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, hold on a second, because I make this point all the time. I have a really good friend of mine who just hates women's basketball, and he's they can't, it's different. I'm like, yeah, it's different because they know how to pass, they know how to shoot, they know how to distribute, they know how to play team game. Not a lot of ISO ball in WNBA.
Nope.
It just seems like the basketball quality, and not every NBA game is just like an annual mixtape, but as for the quality of the games in WNBA side, it's just like you can watch that game and get into it, and it's just like constant. I feel more comfortable watching that sometimes than an NBA game.
I think I agree with that. It has that has a lot to do with just the college games like that, because female college basketball is a good product as well, and I think they get the fundamentals from there and they just carry over into the WNBA. As for the NBA, a lot of guys out there for self, and if they don't have the right system, they get lost in the sauce.
Yeah, it's good, but we talked about the visibility. Here's where I'm coming in. Okay, last night was the All-Star game. Shout out to Enrique Udwali, who picked up the All-Star game MVP last night. It was WNBA All-Stars versus Team USA. Why in the hell was this game on a Wednesday night?
No idea.
Like, I get it. There was no baseballs on. You literally were not up against, because the NBA Finals was at 9, their game was at 7. But if this game went to overtime and you had an exciting game at 9:03, people turn this off and go to the NBA Finals.
I want to say the ESPYs threw everything in a monkey wrench.
Was that Sunday?
It was Saturday. Yeah,
the ESPYs on a Saturday?
Yeah.
I didn't even know. So you blew my mind. I had no idea.
I think the ESPYs threw everything in a monkey wrench, and also the 3 days, gap between games, also. So I think they wanted to get them. I don't know why they did, like you said. I don't know why they did it up against the finals. That's not good right there. That's never good.
Well, I feel like this game should have been honest. This is a Saturday afternoon game. I feel like this is Saturday or Sunday afternoon. I feel like you have more people watching in the weekend, Saturday afternoon. Wednesday night, there was nothing. Literally, I worked last night, so I know there was nothing going on last night. I think I played PlayStation last night till about midnight on the job. Hopefully no one hears that. It was just a dead sports night, so I get it. Like, hey, there's nothing going on. Let's just kind of pigeonhole this game into the schedule. But to get visibility, why not have it on the Saturday afternoon? Hell, do a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Do a Saturday night.
You can do it in the afternoon, Saturday afternoon, then we're going to have games 5 coming
Exactly. Do like, hey, we got this at 4, late local news at 6, and then NBA Finals later on that night. I feel like that's the way to do it. Wednesday just didn't work for me at all. Yeah. It was a really good game. Allie Quigley, her 3rd Mountain Dew 3-point contest shootout win. It got chippy. Like, you could tell Team USA wanted this game. They wanted this game badly. And it came down to the wire. And I really do think this batch of WNBA All-Stars, you could kind of put them up there with some of the best All-Star teams throughout the history of the league. I feel like the league is so balanced now.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of we have teams who are not good, but those teams can still whoop your ass if you don't take them seriously. Yeah. I think that's the big difference from now to like the first 5 years of WNBA, when it was just Houston and New York every single day.
Yeah, agreed.
So we're at the Olympic break, I think, in the WNBA. Yeah. So Seattle Storm 16-8, and I can't read. 16-5. Aces 15-6. Connecticut Sun 14-6. The Sun is a scary team, and here's why. Jonquel Jones might be the best player in the WNBA completely right now. I watched her play at Liberty. I think you saw her at Barclays.
Mm-hmm.
She dominates every time she gets that ball. You know she's going to score a point. It's amazing how much better she looks against the Liberty, and like no one at Liberty can stop her. It just seems like she has a post player who can step out, and I'm going NBA route as well. She might be one of the best out there right now.
Yeah, and we always say that's the Liberty's Achilles heel. They have nobody in the post, and when you come to the 3-point line, she's dangerous. And I just think the Sun, not the Sun, I think Connecticut is definitely one of the teams you got to look out for. I know everyone's talking about Las Vegas and Seattle, but don't sleep on Connecticut.
So right now the Liberty's sitting at 10 and 11. They're 6th in the league. This is pretty much where we would imagine they would be at this point.
I didn't think they was gonna have 10 wins. I was expecting
really.
I expected 5-6. So I think they're playing a little bit of more above expectation.
Wow.
The only thing I'm disappointed is that Sabrina's been god awful.
Yeah, Sabrina Ionescu has been. She had a really fast start when she hit the game-winning shot in Game 1. She had a really big Game 2. And then all hell broke loose, and she's just been a non-factor to the point where I think Walt Hopkins actually, played her off the bench a couple games.
Yeah.
And it seemed like she was getting to that point of like recovering and becoming Sabrina, and then she went back again. So, but Nigel Laney's kind of been holding it down for the Liberty right now because she's their only consistent player. Probably Sadie Whitcomb, but she's a shooter, so shooters are going to have those games. But Nigel Laney, all-star last night, she played in the game. Can we make a case for her for WNBA MVP, or is that just like way above where she is right now?
I want to say it's a little above where she's at right now, but she's definitely the Liberty MVP for sure. She's been holding it down.
So the other team I want to talk about too, and there's two teams, the Mystics and the Wings. They're both the 8 and 9 respectively. The Mystics is the topic on this show because we love Tina Charles. We think she should have came back here this offseason. 8 and 10, they're kind of holding it together with kind of this makeshift roster they have. Tina Charles leading the way, but everyone else, they're missing Elena Delle Donne. It just seems like it's this really weird mix of players where they know they have to replace Delle Donne, so they try to get some vets, but also get some young players in there too. And Tina Charles is what she was with the Liberty. She's that leader, which I think a lot of people weren't expecting her to be anymore. Can this team figure this out and make the playoffs? Because I do feel like it's kind of a mishmash of everything right now.
I think Charles will help them figure it out, and somehow, if they catch the Liberty, they'll probably get that 6. They'll get the 6th spot. So I think they're gonna when they come back from the Olympic break, I think they're gonna make a move. And for the Wings, I think what we saw last night, I think their future is bright as well.
Well, I think, and we talked about them with they had like the first 2 picks, and they went rebuild. That was their plan was, okay, we're going to blow this up and start all over again. And it seemed like the rebuild moved a lot quicker than they probably thought and wanted. Mm-hmm. So now they're kind of competing there. I think they're 9 and 12. Bring that back up again. Yeah, they're 9 and 12. They're 9th. So they're kind of within striking distance. Will the bright lights of that, hey, we're in a playoff chase right now, will that hurt them? Or do you think maybe this kind of upstart team, kind of like the Atlanta Hawks even,
right,
can kind of bring it together at the end?
No, I think this definitely helped them. I think now we get to see what they're made of. So, hey, if they don't crack under pressure, I definitely think the bottom of the WNBA can, like you said, they could beat anyone on the top. So, I think we're going to be we're going to have a great stretch run when everybody comes back.
So if you're listening and you're fans of the following teams, the Fever, the Dream, and the Sparks, we will not be talking about your team. So don't bother. We ain't going there. It's interesting. Chicago's really the wild card, I think, because without Candace Parker, Chicago is god awful. They're terrible. With her, they're one of the best teams in the league, I think. So I feel like a lot is going to depend on Candace Parker's health. If she can hold it together, she's a little older. If she can hold it together, they're a playoff team. If she can't, I think they fall, and that's where the Liberty Right can be able to bump up. The Mercury, who Taurasi's coming back, that they might be able to bump up.
They're gonna make a run. Yep.
It's gonna be interesting to see how Chicago and how they handle her, because Parker can't play a whole bunch of minutes. Parker can't play the entire game. So how do you manage her down the stretch at this point is kind of the question. So I'm
figure it out.
It's very interesting. One thing we also didn't talk about because you've been off, Jason Kidd, the coach of the Mavericks. I did not see that coming.
The prodigal son returns home.
So what are your thoughts on that move, and how pissed off should Doncic be because they didn't hire his boy?
I think Doncic should be extremely pissed that they didn't hire his boy. I think LeBron's kind of pissed because I think he's more of a Kidd fan than a Vogel fan. I think it's going to work out somehow in Dallas. I think Kidd and Luka are going to find a way to get along. And like you said, I was surprised he got that job.
Yeah, he wasn't even I feel like he wasn't even like on the list.
No, he was.
It's weird. I feel like Jason Kidd's name, I've never heard it. So I was like, oh, they hired Jason Kidd. I'm like, huh? And then they hired like a Nike executive to run the team too. So like, you had two weird hires in like back-to-back days.
Because the only reason Kidd's name came up is because they failed in Portland. He was the name that we kept hearing in Portland, and when that fell through, it's kind of like Dallas came in and just swooped them up.
And here's the thing, and here's the question I ask you, Jay. Kidd's resume is not like great.
Very shaky at best.
Where would you put him in a coaching candidate carousel? Because I feel like there's a lot of other assistants I would have hired before Jason Kidd. There's a lot of other retread coaches I would have hired before Jason Kidd. I feel like Jason Kidd, oh, well, Luka's a point guard. We need a point guard. Jason Kidd's available. Let's get Jason Kidd. That's what it seems like. It seems like they just got a point guard to help Luka when Luka's like, I don't want him. I want no part of him. I want this guy. And they said, oh, we're going to get this point guard to the guy you wanted.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why, but maybe it's that Dallas championship pedigree that he could probably instill in Luka. Maybe that's what it is. He did win a championship there.
I know, but I just don't see it. I don't understand it. Even the Chauncey Billups hire, I'm like, he was assistant for 1 year.
It seems like everybody's going with that point guard. Maybe point guards that make the best coach kind of theory. It seems that's what they're going with.
Yeah, but you have Steve Kerr. Who else? Right now, is another point guard that I'm missing.
By default, Nash had a good rookie year. By default,
he had a stacked team. I could have coached that team. I could have just been like, okay, James, Kyrie, and Katie, just do your thing, and just sit down.
I don't know where Kyrie is.
It's just like I don't understand the logic behind it. The other big story, and I want to get your thoughts on this too, is we're seeing it in football. Is going to come to basketball eventually in college. Players like Reggie Bush, Terrell Pryor, they're petitioning the NCAA to almost throw out their transgressions when they're in college. Reggie Bush took money from an agent. Terrell Pryor sold rings and tickets and stuff like that. They're asking the NCAA to kind of forgive that and bring those wins back and bring their records back. Reggie Bush asks for a Heisman back because of this NIL rule now and saying that, well, you got this now, so blah, blah, blah. I think the last player I remember, probably other players too, but O.J. Mayo was the big guy in USC who did this, and wins were vacated, and there's no record of O.J. Mayo ever being at USC. This NIL is different. Is this a new thing? Should players who violate NCAA rules before this thing came out, should they be forgiven for what they did, or should they go, you know what, this is true, we'll give everything back? Because I feel like I have a weird feeling about this. What do you think?
I think if it's in terms of like what Reggie Bush did, where it was like he took money because he couldn't make money kind of thing, I think you forgive that. You forget it, let it be, give him back his Heisman, things like that. I think when it comes to wins and losses, it's kind of hard to get those back. I think we got to keep those vacated. If anything, It's kind of like what happens in real life, in terms of like, marijuana. It is what it is. You did the time. Those were the rules at the time. So it's kind of hard to go back and overturn everything. It'll be on case by case basis. So I think for the Mayos and them, I think they just gotta eat it. They gotta eat it. Reggie Bush definitely gets his Heisman back. Terrell Pryor definitely get his win. He might get his name and clear from any wrongdoing, but I don't think you get back the wins.
Here's my issue with this, and I feel like you just said it. You do the crime, you do the time, right? This NIL wasn't a thing back when Reggie Bush was playing, OJ Mayo was playing, Terrell Pryor was playing, and the countless other players who violated NCAA rules of violations. My issue is this: is that a retroactive rule?
Right.
I feel like it's not because you have this now. Well, all the sins you did from 1962 to now are all forgiven. I don't believe that. Reggie Bush took money from an agent. It wasn't like him going out and finding sponsors like these guys are doing, and not like taking money from agents. But hey, I'm pushing. What was that quarterback, De'Ara King in Miami? College hunks moving stuff. Mm-hmm. He's repping them. He's not taking money from an agent. He's not getting houses for his parents.
Right.
Terrell Pryor, I think that situation was a little different because he was a college player who couldn't eat. He was hungry. Mm-hmm. So he sold some tickets, sold some rings, got some money, got some food, probably went out. Mm-hmm. I think that situation is different. I think Terrell Pryor was fucked on that one completely. Reggie Bush was a whole different level. Reggie Bush was on some SMU shit when he was at USC. So I feel like he shouldn't get anything. I feel like Reggie Bush should be done.
At least the Heisman back, no?
But the Heisman said they said whatever the NCAA decides, we'll decide that. So I'm like, the Heisman did the good thing. And science is like, well, look at them. Don't talk to them first. Mm-hmm. Terrell Pryor, I agree with him. I feel like he should have never got any type of violations or to get his name taken out. Bush, I really truly believe shouldn't get shit. I think he's done. I just think they think because you have this thing now, it's this retroactive rule. It's not. So stop doing it. So it bothers me because you did something wrong, and Bush admitted to doing something. He gave the damn Heisman back. So that's your admission of guilt. But now you're gonna go like, actually.
I would have kept that Heisman and would have put my Super Bowl ring right next to it.
Yeah, like if you really felt, because if you really felt strongly that you didn't do anything wrong and you were just helping your family and doing what you had to do, keep it. You gave it back and apologized. Like Chris Webber, for what he did at Michigan, I don't think he really apologized.
No, that was the whole reason why Jalen had that beef with him for so long.
He put it on Ed Martin.
Yeah, when it really wasn't not all on him.
Yeah, but he never really apologized for what he did. Mm-hmm. So Weber's going through his grave like, I did nothing wrong. I'm just trying to make some money. Reggie Bush giving that Heisman back, that's your admission of guilt. That's you saying, yeah, I kind of messed up. Here's the Heisman back. So I feel like in that case, you shouldn't get anything.
But at the same time, guys like Reggie, they went on to have good careers. He made some money. He shouldn't be looking for a handout right now.
No. I mean, he dated a Kardashian. That's a handout enough. Like He
got her early too. He got her early. He got her before Kanye. Yeah.
Way early.
Yeah.
Wait, that was right. Was that right after Ray J?
Right after.
See, she was still prime. So here's my Penny Hardaway was gonna leave, thinking about leaving Memphis to go to Orlando, coach the Magic, ended up staying in Memphis, and hired Larry Brown as the top assistant. The transient coach named Larry Brown. What does Brown really help Memphis? Because I feel like Hardaway kind of got it figured out. He recruits really well. He plays in like a okay conference, so he's going to compete for the conference every single year. What does Larry Brown really bring to Memphis and help Penny do?
So I think I have a lukewarm hot take on this. I think Penny didn't like the job offerings in the league that was going out, and Orlando somehow was giving him a runaround, and they wasn't even going to hire him, which is crazy. So I think Larry's really there to be that mentor to get him over the hump in terms of like when he's done with Memphis, he'll be ready for an NBA job. So I think if anything, he's just going to provide like another voice of reason in terms of like making sure he's doing the right coaching decisions, things like that. And so far, he's been doing well at Memphis. So I think he's going to go back. He's still helping that program get things, turning things around, and maybe 2 more years there, and then he'll be ready for the NBA.
So what I'm saying is Larry Brown's going to teach him the ways of the transient gypsy and just move around, job.
Absolutely.
Larry Brown was at SMU, did well there. Mm-hmm. Apparently, he didn't do a whole lot of work. He did bare minimum. A lot of assistants did the work. I'm curious to see how this works. I'm curious to see how good Memphis becomes. I feel like Larry Brown, especially defensively, I feel like he's always been a really good defensive coach. It's going to be interesting to kind of see how he works, especially with he started SMU a few years ago with this generation of players because, young guys, they don't want to play defense. Defense isn't their thing. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can get guys to buy in to play more defense and play tighter defense because that's what Memphis always misses. They miss defense because they don't play really well, and they don't play a lot of defense to begin with.
Not at all.
So last topic of the night, I am 2 weeks behind in AEW.
Oh, wow.
But I heard, it's on my DVR, I got to watch this weekend, but I heard that they're building Hangman versus Omega.
Yeah, they're definitely going in that direction.
So there was a really cool tweet that I saw of someone literally breaking down the Hangman storyline from when he started in AEW all the way to now. It was like 10 tweets. But he broke it down to like he was a young star. He lost to Jericho. Got the tag team titles. Omega kind of started treating him like a dick. Mm-hmm. And then fell into the kind of depression type thing and drinking. But the way they've kind of built this out over the last year, and it was like some undercover long-term booking because you really didn't understand it because you're like, oh, Hangman's going to be there eventually. You didn't see it, but it was just these layers. And I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy long-term booking. This is what I want. This is exactly what I want. And they've done it to perfection.
Yeah, we don't get that more. And the way they're building that feud, yeah, you're right. It's definitely going to be something. And look how they did it, too. They did it, during when they had no fans. Now we got fans back. It's the first feud Omega's going to have. I think it's brilliant.
It's crazy because I watch AEW every week, so I guess I missed all that subtlety and just kind of reading that guy's tweets and how they did it. I'm like, oh my God, they really pulled this shit off. I'm like, interesting. What do you think? So I had friends over from college, and essentially one of their quotes was, when we talk wrestling, we shit on WWE and praise AEW when they watch the podcast.
That's it's not just us. The ratings are showing that. Like Dynamite's beating Raw, the flagship show. So,
well, here's the thing, though. How long before something drastic really happens?
Well, you heard the rumor now, right? So now it's going to be Goldberg and Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam. And everybody, see, at first I had that face, but you know what? I personally don't mind seeing Goldberg tap out in the Hurt Lock. I'm here for that.
God, no. So
wait. I also heard rumblings. I don't know how clearly it's not going to happen, but I thought it was a great storyline. Kofi's fighting Bobby at Money in the Bank Sunday. Rumor is Big E's going to win the briefcase. I'm here for a Big E cash on Kofi. I'm here for that too. That's the direction I would go in on Sunday with fans back in the building. That's just me. That's how
that would get that reaction that they haven't gotten in a while. Because people will be like, wait, what's oh shit. That would be my reaction. Like, did that just happen? They've so shit on this product that's drastic. Big E turning on Kofi, that's a drastic move. The fact that they have to even think about doing something that drastic is ridiculous because they shouldn't have to.
Speaking of the product and how bad it is, I'm shocked there's still tickets on sale for Madison Square Garden Friday Night SmackDown September 10th. I was just looking yesterday, and they're fairly cheap. And we're talking about the Garden, not Barclays, where Barclays seems like their price point is always lower. But you get good seats for that SmackDown for like $50. I'm shocked that it's still available. I try to get tickets for the Versus with the Locks and Dipset. That's all gone. at the theater. It's all gone.
Well, I mean, I'm not shocked. I mean, first of all, I can't stand Dipset. Happy birthday, Jim Jones. I'm not surprised because the product's been so shitty, and I feel like people are just like, we're over it. Like 1.3 million.
Yeah, but you know what they're gonna do now, right? They're gonna throw now, especially now. I think tomorrow's the first SmackDown with fans. They're gonna throw Cena, Goldberg. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Becky sighting by Monday.
Hogan, they'll throw Hogan out.
They're gonna throw all these old guys out. When really and truly, you should have threw Aleister Black, all the guys you let go to AEW. You should have just built them.
But listen, they got Dewdrop, so it's all good now.
Oh, boy.
Who's fine? I don't know why. I love Dewdrop. So Jay, as always, good show, man.
Likewise.
So in 2 weeks, we'll be back next Thursday night. But in 2 weeks, we have our annual live draft show, our first draft show on YouTube. So that should be very interesting.
Our first draft show without the Knicks in the lottery. Are we gonna stay to number 19? 20?
That I was gonna ask you that. I'm like, this is the first year where we may be off the air by 19. I don't know what to do.
You know what? I think we should keep tradition, and we might have to do a 2-hour box out. I'm here for it.
Well, we'll be here on draft night, July 29th. That is 2 weeks from tonight. Our annual live box out draft show. Live, no breaks. If you listen to us on audio, we always had music breaks. We don't got that now. Unless I can find videos to put up. But we're going to be on. We're going to hopefully make it to number 19 at least. I can't make promises about 21. But definitely 19. So live in 2 weeks here on the Just Hoop Talk YouTube channel. Also, I said it earlier. I'm going to say it again. Justin and Will just put out a mock draft on this YouTube channel. They put it out yesterday. Check that out. It is legit. They go through all 30 picks first round, about 45 minutes. Very insightful. So check that out here on Just Hoop Talk YouTube channel as well. So for Jason Corda, I'm Kahlil Thomas. Thank you so much for watching, listening on the podcast, which will be up tomorrow. We'll be back next Thursday night for more Box Out here on Just Hoop Talk YouTube channel. Peace.
Peace.